千里之行，始于足下。A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Daodejing by Lao Zi. This particular chapter is all about how the Tao spreads outward from the inside out, starting within the heart, radiating outward like a ripple. So here, in the middle of this diagram, that's the self. So the Chinese character for that, shen, physically, it means the body. Metaphysically, it means the essence of the self. So what we're saying in this line is that when you cultivate it in yourself, the virtue shall be true. And you have to use the truth for cultivation. Let's take a look at the next line. So same as before, what I'll do first is I'll isolate the last character to talk about what that means. In this case, yu, it means surplus or extras. This is a positive context in Chinese. So Chinese people would want surplus, extras, because that is a sign of abundant prosperity. Makes sense, right? Here, what it's saying is that if you were to cultivate the Tao in the family, the virtue of the Tao shall be abundant. So let's take a look at that. This is saying that you expand beyond yourself. You're going from self-cultivation to cultivating the Tao in the family. When you include the family, and remember, the definition of family could be yourself and your close friends who feel closer than family. It doesn't necessarily have to always be family by blood. When you include the family, you attain the personal level of abundance. Let me explain. Abundance in virtue that you attain when you cultivate beyond yourself is reflected in every aspect of family life. So I have a bullet point here that may make it a little easier to see. So the abundant virtue manifests also is reflected as abundant harmony in the home, abundance of love in the home, in the family, a strong bond within the family, the closeness of family members, the family being able to function as a cohesive unit, everybody pulling in the same direction. Also, a harmonious family is a prosperous family because family pulling together, work together for the common goal. That goal perhaps can be financial stability, less worries over material resources, etc. So there's a lot to be said for cultivating beyond yourself, and the first level beyond that is to expand into the family. In the diagram that you saw, here's how I represent that expansion. So beyond the self to the family, on top we have the character jia for the family or the home, and then to the left, yu, I have the character for abundance, extras, surplus. The virtue shall be abundant. So this is the first level of expansion. So let's take a look at the level beyond that. I think you see exactly the direction that we're headed. We're looking at the words of Lao Tzu and we're representing it visually to make it easier to understand. Cultivated in the community, its virtue shall be lasting. So as usual, what I'll do here is I'll isolate the very last character here, put it down here, Chang. So pinyin, close enough, meaning long, long in terms of duration, in terms of time, therefore lasting. So if you cultivate it in the community, its virtue shall be long-lasting. That's what it's saying. So what does that mean? Well, when the Tao expands beyond your family, you influence your community in a positive way. The more people you influence, and this goes back to the concept that we talked about a little bit earlier, that when the Tao is spread to more and more people, it becomes ever more indestructible. It's an idea, it's a concept. The more people know about it, the more it is impossible to eradicate it. So more and more neighbors are affected by this, by the Tao, which will exert a lasting influence for the good. So more and more people are inspired, they get involved, they contribute to the common cause within the community, they all band together to work toward the common good. So that's exactly what that means. So we can now easily describe that as yet another level of expansion, as you can see here. So beyond the family, you expand into the community. We have the matching character there on top. The virtue will then be lasting because now more and more people are involved, not just your family, not just the people closest to you, your loved ones, it's neighbors. So is there more beyond? Well, of course. I think we'll do a couple more. Here, line 7 says, cultivated in the country, its virtue shall be prosperous. Let's look at the last character there, Feng. So the pinyin is a little misleading. It's supposed to sound like Feng, like Feng Fu, common expression. The meaning, affluent, bountiful. This is another way to express abundance and prosperity, except that now this is at a national level. No longer at the personal level, but involving an entire country or kingdom in ancient times. So here's the idea. When the Tao expands to an entire country, it brings prosperity at the national level. Let me note that this is rarely accomplished in the history of humanity. This has a lot of positive effects for a country, a nation, a state, a kingdom, an empire. It'll manifest as national wealth, international prestige, leadership role in the world, the high regard of other countries. So it is very beneficial to the country, but it is rarely accomplished. Most of the time, what countries do is that some countries can partially get closer to the Tao in a few aspects of its national discourse. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. For now, I just want to show the expansion into the next level, the level of the country, and then point out that the benefit is that the virtue shall be prosperous, abundance at the national level. As you can see, we now have one more level to go through before we complete the diagram. So I want to push ahead to get us to that point. It is line 8. Cultivated in the world, its virtue shall be widespread. So here, I want to single out the last character there, which, looking at the translation, you can easily guess. Pu means general, universal, everywhere, widespread. So a common character often used in Mandarin, even 普通话, just the common tongue. So very, very often used character. So here, what it's saying is that when the Tao expands into the whole world, if and when it expands to the whole world, it brings the greatest possible benefit to humanity as a whole. It has the greatest impact. Now, I think you know, and I know, that this is not a reality. It's an aspiration. It's something that has never occurred in the history of the world, perhaps in the distant future. It is a worthwhile goal. Whatever you and I can do to contribute to that goal, to get closer to that vision, is a worthy goal. Now, take a look at the completion of this diagram. You can now see that everything's filled in. You go from the self to the family, to the community, to the country, and finally to the world. And when it's spread to the world, truly the virtue is universal, it's everywhere, it's commonplace, it's widespread. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us all travel safely so we can meet again. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.